Welcome guys to Manitoba Bushcrafting and Reviews. Today we are going to do a final review on my sleeping pad. Okay, so this is the klymit Insulated Static V Lite sleeping pad. They advertise it saying that it takes 10 to 15 breaths to blow up, and I would say that's pretty accurate. I've never had any issues with this pad other than the valve, and I contacted klymit and they sent me a new valve. I popped it on and it worked fine ever since. So that's good. Now speaking of the valve, if we go up to the top of the mattress here, it does stick out quite a ways. It is awkward to lock and unlock, I'm not gonna lie. Totally awkward. This pad has deflated on me several times, but it is not the fault of the valve here. That's from me blowing my hot breath into the bag and then it cooling down, and of course hot air expands, but when it cools down it doesn't hold as much air in it as it would have if the air was hot or warm. So what I do is I blow it up, let it sit for like 10-15 minutes, and then just add the remainder of air that I think I'd need into there, and lock it, and it stays for the rest of the night. This pad is easy to roll up. I just fold it once on this side, once on that side, roll it, unroll it, fold it again, and then roll it all the way up. And that seems to work pretty decent for me. The specs on this pad are, for weight, it's 20 ounces or 567 grams. The dimensions are 72 inches long by 23 inches wide by 2 inches or 2.5 inches thick. It's made of a pretty durable 30D polyester, and yeah, pack size is 8 inches by 3 inches. So pretty compact little pad. Not the most compact that you can get, but yeah. So when I purchased this pad, they were using the old way of measuring R value, and since then they've changed it to STM standard, I'm pretty sure, and they rate R value different than how they used to. This pad has not been retested with the new standard, so it's still, they claim that it's R value of 4.4. If they do end up testing it in the future, I will let you guys know, but it could turn out being less than 4.4 once it is tested with the new standard, or it could also be higher. I have pushed this pad down to the high. Actually, I've attempted to sleep outside all the way up to minus 35 with this pad, so, and failed. But I have a couple videos back where I slept in minus 26, and I was feeling conduction sucking the heat from me by the end of that night. I didn't get much sleep at all, so I'd say its limit would be in the mid minus 20s. And then I've used it in lower temperatures. I think the rating on it was like minus 15 Celsius, and I would say that's accurate, but you can push it further, and if you put a pad under it, it would increase the R value. But I don't know, it's decent for other climates winters. Our climate is pretty extreme where we live, so it's just not cutting it. Other than that, like I said, it just takes about 10 to 15 breaths to blow up, and I'll blow it up right now for you guys. So here it is blown up. It's pretty decently long. It comes with these rails on the side, I guess they call them, something like that. Sorry, I had to switch rooms, guys. Anyhow, these chambers here, it's not filled to its full capacity right now, But these and all these spaces here, this is part of the reason why it probably does so well in the cold, even though it's got such a low R value, is the fill on your bags, whether it be down or synthetic, fills these baffles, or the creases in between the baffles, and allows the backside of your sleeping bag to actually provide insulation, where in a conventional vertical baffle with not much gaps, your sleeping bag's pretty much useless underneath you. But this way, some of it is actually being utilized to heat you up. So I do like that feature. I beat this thing up, man. Like, I've had it laying in snow. I've had it laying in dirt. I've spilt stuff on it. I've laid it on things that are pokey. Like, it just keeps going. It doesn't stop. And for a 3-season pad, I would say this is a very decent pad for the money that you're paying for it. It's relatively comfortable. Not the best, but it is only 2.5 inches. It is super light. Like I said, very easy to blow up. It would be nice if they included a little pump sack thing to capture the air and push it in that way, so you're not putting your own breath in there, because that I don't think it would wreck the insulation in the inside, but moisture in your sleeping pad just doesn't really mix. But yeah, it's durable. I've had it for going on 4 years, or maybe even over 4 years by now. They're going for about $96 American. I'm not too sure about Canadian anymore. I think it's somewhere around the 130 to 150 mark. Not 100% sure. I haven't looked it up. Right now I'm looking into sleeping pads to replace this sleeping pad, because I really want to start doing a lot more winter camping, and I just can't do it with this pad. Speaking of which, that new R value standard kind of swapped things around a bit. So pads that used to have an R value around 6, now they're counting them as an R value around 5 or 5.2-ish area. So 6 would be a 5.2, and that's kind of confusing when you're shopping for them, because you don't know if you're looking at the old R value or the new one. Luckily, the pad I'm looking at is advertised with both R values, so the old standard and the new standard. And since this is the old standard, I'll go with the old standard for the sleeping pad that I'm looking at, which would be 6. So in comparison to this, it would be 6 using the old standard. But with the new standard, I'd say this thing would probably land around the 3 something mark for R value, and the old standard for this pad is 4.4. So, and I think it's rated to -15. I think. I'm not 100% sure on that, but if I remember correctly, it was around there. The pad I'm looking at will be a big upgrade from this, but it's going to be a 4-season pad. This is advertised as a 4-season pad, but I don't know if you could really call it a Canadian 4-season pad. In the States, you might get away with it, depending on where you live. But in Canada, with our temperatures, especially these last few years, we've just been hitting -50 in February every single year, and it drags on for a couple weeks and drives you nutty. But yeah, so there's not really much else I can say about it. It is just a sleeping pad. It does have cool features, like the way the baffles are designed to utilize the insulation in your sleeping bag. So that is handy, and that is probably how I've made it to really, really cold temperatures with this pad. And like I said the other night, I'm getting old. I've been feeling the cold a lot more in my bones, and I woke up that day with -26, and it was just, yeah, I'm can't do it anymore. So it was time to say goodbye to this, and we'll have a new pad coming in the mail in probably, let's say, a week, 2 weeks, depending on the mail system. So stay tuned for that. And if you like, hit like. If you want to share, hit share. Comment down below, and definitely subscribe, guys. It helps me out a lot. This channel's been going for 4 years now, and it took me 4 years to get to 150 subs. And in the last month, you guys have boosted us all the way up to 220. So that's definitely progress. I'm very pleased with those numbers. So I appreciate all of you guys, whether you like, comment, thumbs up. I guess thumbs up and like are the same thing. And of course, subscribe, guys. So yeah, stay tuned for the unboxing of the new sleeping pad. This thing is bomb-proof. At least mine is. So if you're looking for a cheap summer, fall, and spring sleeping pad, this is probably the best choice you can make. Okay, guys. See ya.